Hello, Iris. Let's start with your interview. The first question is, what drew you to the early childhood profession?
I was drawn to the early childhood profession through a deep belief that the first 5 years of a child's life are the most consequential window of development we have as educators and caregivers. Growing up in a bilingual household and witnessing firsthand how language, culture, and family shape a child's sense of self and belonging, I felt called to work in spaces where those earliest experiences are honored and nurtured. What keeps me in this field is the profound responsibility it carries. As the director of New Pathway Early Childhood Center, a bilingual English and Spanish program, I see every day how intentional, relationship based early care and education can change the trajectory of a child's life and the life of an entire family. NACI's professional standards and competencies remind us that early childhood professionals serve as advocates, educators, and partners, and that identity resonates deeply with who I am and what I am committed to in this work.
Our second question will be, what do you consider to be your chief responsibility as an early childhood professional?
As an early childhood professional, and specifically in my role as a center director, I consider my chief responsibilities to fall into four interconnected areas. First, ensuring program quality, meaning that every classroom in my center reflects developmentally appropriate, culturally sustaining, and research based practice. Second, supporting and developing my teaching staff through ongoing mentorship, reflective supervision, and professional development opportunities, because teachers can only give what they themselves receive. Third, building genuine family partnerships, engaging the families in our program not as recipients of services, but as true collaborators in their children's learning and development. And fourth, advocacy, using my professional voice and platform to push for the policies, resources, and systemic changes that young children and their families deserve, particularly in communities that have historically been underserved. These responsibilities align directly with NACI Standard 6, which calls on early childhood professionals to conduct themselves ethically, engage with the field, and advocate on behalf of children, families, and the profession.
Now, going to question number three, what is the role of collaboration in professional practice?
Address collaboration with other professionals as well as families. Collaboration is not optional in early childhood. It is the foundation upon which quality outcomes for children are built. In my professional practice, collaboration happens at multiple levels simultaneously. With families, I believe deeply that they are the first and most enduring educators in a child's life. At New Pathways, we work intentionally to create structures where families feel welcome, informed, and genuinely heard. From family conferences and home visits to bilingual communication and culturally affirming events that honors the backgrounds our families bring. With other professionals, including special education specialists, speech and language pathologists, mental health consultants, and community partners, I collaborate to ensure that children with diverse needs are fully supported and that no child falls through the cracks. NACI standards clear emphasize clear communication and NACI standards emphasize that effective collaboration requires mutual respect, shared purpose, and clear communication, all of which I actively cultivate in my daily work as a director. I also recognize that collaboration with my own teaching team is equally critical. When educators plan together, reflect together, the quality of care and education children receive is immeasurably stronger.
Question number four, what strategies do you routinely utilize to ensure that you are critically reflecting on your own growth as an EC professional?
Reflective practice is something I consider non negotiable in my professional life because I can expect my staff to engage in it if I am not modeling myself. The strategies I use fall into several categories. First, I engage in instructor self assessment, regularly examining my own decisions, programs and leadership practices against professional standards, including NACI's competencies and the ethical guidelines in the Code of Ethical Conduct. Second, I actively seek feedback from others, my teaching staff, the families in our program, and trusted mentors and colleagues, because I know that my own perspective is always partial. Third, I pursue ongoing professional learning, attending conferences, engaging with current research, and completing my Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Studies at Walden University, which consistently challenges me to examine my assumptions and grow my professional knowledge base. And fourth, I journal and reflect on critical incidents, moments in my practice that are uncomfortable or unexpected, because those are often where the richest professional learning lives.
Now, going to the last question, can you briefly describe an issue that might be the focus of current or future advocacy efforts and explain why advocacy is a hallmark of professionalism in the early childhood field for you?
The issue that is most central to my current advocacy efforts is access to quality, affordable child care for low-income families in Missouri. Far too many families in our community are forced to choose between inadequate care for their children and the ability to go to work, a choice no family should have to make. Childcare deserts, insufficient subsidy funding, and the wage crisis facing early childhood educators all compound this problem. As a director of a program that serves many families navigating these barriers, I feel a professional and moral responsibility to speak up to policymakers, community leaders, and the public about what the research tells us that investing in high quality early care and education produces measurable, long lasting outcomes for children, families, and communities. Advocacy is a hallmark in early childhood professionalism because our youngest children have no political voice of their own. They can't testify at budget hearings, write letters to legislators, or organize community campaigns. We, as early childhood professionals, must do that on their behalf. NACI Standard 6 explicitly identifies advocacy as a core component of professional identity. And organizations like 023 and the Center on the Developing Child at Harvard University provide the evidence base that grounds our advocacy in science and urgency. To be a professional in early childhood is to understand that our work does not end at the door. It extends to every space where decisions are made that affect the lives of children and families.